right. Well, I'm going to call to order the meeting of the East Umatilla Fire and Rescue at, what time we got?
7:29.
7:29, thank you. Roll call, Chris Williams.
Mark Albert. Jimmy.
Chris Moreland.
You with us, Matt?
No,
All right, Matt's here.
I'm here.
All right, and Greg is gone this month. Okay. So do we have, yes, we do have oath of office under old business. Okay. So are there any edits or additions to the agenda?
Don't believe I have any.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda.
You want a second?
Okay.
Okay, Matt moved, and Chris was the second. Further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Am I allowed to vote yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Opposed? Shush you. All right, that carries 1, 2, it'd be, I said be 3 and 1 at this, or 3 and none at this point. Because you can't be an A or an A yet. So,
Not yet.
is there any public comment? Okay, hearing none. Moving on to the financial information. Does anybody besides me have a question on the financial? So my question was, I noticed that there was an election expense for the medic district last month, but there was nothing for EUFR. So did the county not send EUFR a bill, or did it all get charged to the medic district? Okay, you can check it. And then the only other thing I saw is, okay, my question is, do we have a policy that the checks are to have 2 signatures? Or is it just a best management practice?
It might be a best practice.
Okay, because I noticed that there were 2 checks last month that Greg did not sign. One for $130 to a landscaping company in Pasco, and one for over $10,000 to the SDIS. So that was just, those are observations. I was curious if we have a policy on that.
I don't think we have a 2 signature policy, but the bank suggested that we do have the 2 signature practice, and I think that's one. So
Okay.
I think Debbie should suggest that.
Okay. Any other questions on the financials?
No.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second? Sounds like Matt seconded it. All right.
Yeah.
All in favor of approving the financials, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
3 carries it. All right, payment of the bills.
I make a motion to pay the bills.
I second it.
All right, the motion's been made by Chris, seconded by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And opposed is none, because all were in favor. Okay. This can be the same game. Minutes from the last meeting. Did anybody have any changes or comments on the minutes from last meeting?
I did not.
No,
I did not either. It looked great. Thank you, Joanne. So do we have a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting?
so move.
Matt moves,
Second,
Chris seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
I,
And 3 ayes, no nays. Okay, now let's get Mark's phone in so he can vote on something.
know he's done Except for the adjournment, and I'll be like,
will let you vote on that.
perfect. Okay. I, Mark Calvert, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully perform the duties of the Office of Board of Director of the East Umatilla Fire and Rescue District to the best of my abilities, that I will abide by the rules, regulations, and policies of the East Umatilla Fire and Rescue District, and that I will uphold the laws and constitutions of the state of Oregon and the United States of America.
Congratulations.
I was going to say amen.
So our next item on old business is adopting a new pay scale. We do have a resolution, but did everybody get the proposed pay scale? Did you have a chance to look at that?
I did not.
Do you have copies of that, Dave, that you sent out?
I can get something, yes.
That'd be great.
I'm not sure I was part of the fire
Oh, the email.
email yet.
He
And that
just
made
sent
me
that
like,
out this week, like 2 days ago.
Haven't updated the distribution routes too, so I will send myself a note to do that tomorrow.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Cause like you're not in the fire one yet. So.
Mark
Yeah.
might not be in the,
I get the medic ones.
do you?
Yeah.
You are special.
I have an in with the IT guy.
Chummy chums. I like it.
I didn't even know I was part of the group. I just figured people were picking.
It's a game, it's a game.
It's a game, okay.
So, Chief, did you make this schedule? Are you intimately acquainted with it?
I'm pretty familiar with
Okay, so I had a question that, and maybe you can answer. So the difference between firefighter EMT and lieutenant EMT is 30,000. But the difference between firefighter paramedic and lieutenant paramedic is only 15,000.
Yeah, so basically the conversation was, and we had,
Oh.
we had firefighter EMT, firefighter advanced, firefighter intermediate, firefighter paramedic, and then it just went to lieutenant. But the
Just
comment
like
came up that
going.
we could possibly have an EMT lieutenant, EMT, so I had to read more than, so basically you go up 3% go right. And then 3% go down,
Chris?
unless you're in the lieutenant part, it's 1% jump as you move down.
Oh, but
Change.
you know, so to go from a firefighter EMT, they start at 55,000.
Right.
But a lieutenant EMT is 85. That's $35,000 per lieutenant rank for that position. But if you go from paramedic 73, you go to 88. So how come this one isn't a $15,000 jump instead? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, good question, and we can actually retool it, and it's just because I just marched it out with 3%, and that's kind of where it jumped, and then I put those, but you're right, we could actually retool it, it probably saves.
Yeah, I think that, you know, the lieutenant rank should be kind of equal.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether they're a paramedic.
Yeah, so
or
each one, we
basic
jump
or-
from like a lieutenant EMT or lieutenant, all this should always jump.
That's my suggestion.
Let me retool it then and see what it all, cause what that may do then is it may mess up how the whole
Oh,
structure system works with
uh-huh.
it, with you jumping up, but let me look at that.
Because in effect, I mean, I understand we can only pay people so much, but you're kind of penalizing the guy that's a paramedic that makes a higher rank or responsibility. However you,
To promote, you mean?
yeah, versus a basic. I mean, that's a big jump from being just a basic EMT firefighter to lieutenant EMT firefighter. That, you know. So that's Dave. You might have been out when I was asking about this. to go from a firefighter EMT to lieutenant EMT is a $30,000 jump. But a firefighter paramedic to lieutenant paramedic is only a $15,000 jump. So I guess my suggestion would be that just make them all 15,000, with all the same, the jump. Make lieutenant worth the same, don't, that's a pretty big, for a basic.
I'm
EMT.
tracking you.
Does that make
Yes.
sense?
Yes, the way you're explaining it, maybe the only you'd be at the whole table can, it makes sense to me.
Okay,
I know what you're
I
saying.
didn't know if I was communicating.
I know what
clearly.
you're saying.
Yeah,
And that's whenever you make a pay scale, I'm kind of.
Another discussion, to be honest, I think, and this is because we're sort of fresh, but using a system, you wouldn't want to have a lower, you can run into trouble if you have a lower lieutenant as an EMT, that then is the officer over a medic, who then has like medical control of the scene. And I would say that moving forward, you'd probably have to be a medic to even promote to lieutenant. But it came up because if we run an officer's process next year, you could potentially maybe having a senior EMT firefighter be able to, but we may not. It depends on what we want to build when it comes, but usually you won't see that. But it was brought up that could happen because we're just starting. I would maybe not want to do it that way. You'd want to have that medic to become a lieutenant.
Sure.
As part of the progression,
sure.
which may then fix that anyway, because then you would take out the other part of it. We just make, if you want to be an officer, you'd have to be.
That's part of the qualification.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so that's another, but I can look at that, but we can also think about that as well.
Yeah, if you guys could talk through the logistics, I mean, that's the only thing I picked out on it.
I mean, I imagine that you'd have to have certain obviously qualifications, and we were just talking about that to move up in the ladder.
Yeah.
But yeah, you wouldn't want to have, someone with less qualifications
In charge of.
being in charge over, someone
Yes.
with more. So if you've got a paramedic, basic EMT, it's not gonna have the medical knowledge as a paramedic. But if that EMT is a lieutenant and they're giving orders to the paramedic, you could have some screwed up stuff going
Yeah,
on.
because standard practice is
So-
high medical cert on scene,
Yeah.
trumps the other medical cert, but if that's the lieutenant, yeah, you get.
A little messy, yeah.
And I've worked those scenes before where the paramedic was the person running the entire call, and he was giving instruction to the captain,
Oh.
who was a basic, and
Right.
didn't want to play.
So just, I'm tracking the conversation. I understand what you guys are saying. I thought there might be something too there where you jump from a firefighter medic up to a lieutenant. But then you'd still have your paramedic qual. But just anecdotally, ICS system follows that all the time, where you could have different folks and their day jobs and different jobs. And under an ICS structure, you got different people working for you all the time, and you work for other people all the time. And that's the beauty of ICS. So, and I don't know if this is kind of in that, because, what you guys are saying, and that's pretty typical, is that you'd have your highest, medical qual taking, command of an incident. So for what it's worth.
This is Ray, if I can interject. I agree with Matt too. I don't see a problem there shouldn't be a problem with the head medic, paramedic telling the captain what to do if he has on a medical scene, and the captain should just. I would have a problem with a captain that wouldn't back down unless there is a safety issue going on that the paramedic can ignore. And I agree with that, Dan.
And to your point, Ray, I'm sorry to jump in.
For ICS, it shouldn't.
I certainly saw that. I saw captain to
Not that it doesn't
exactly
have-
what the paramedic says, exactly what they asked for. I mean,
You're-
literally.
I'm sure in the world it happens though, a lot, because egos get involved.
But I'm just, you have an $8,000 difference between firefighter EMT and firefighter advanced, and a $10,000 difference between advanced and paramedic. But then there's only a $900 difference between the different certification levels at when you make your lieutenant. I think that's my concern. It's that we're not given the benefit of that medical certification once they hit lieutenant.
The,
You're giving a big
Yeah.
jump to the guy with the basic certification right there,
Yeah.
and then not giving any premium to advance. And maybe if it's in our structure that you don't make lieutenant if you're not a full medic, maybe it's a moot point, but you got to have that in the policy too. So,
or you gotta remove that from the pay scale and not even have that as an option.
well, that's a possibility too, Matt. Just eliminate a
Yeah.
couple of lines.
So, yeah, so I didn't mean to take us down another path, because I think another way to put it, kind of, Chris, is it's not linear. So the scale isn't really linear in its increases. Is that, and maybe I just muddied it even further.
Yeah,
but-
there's not enough. There's not enough spread when you make lieutenant between the
Yeah.
different certifications.
Yeah,
It's true.
Okay. Well, Tony, did you say you were gonna look at that again and try to?
Just to be clear, you're looking for a bigger spread in between the lieutenant ranks.
Yeah. And
My career.
do we,
That's.
in your opinion, do we need all four? Do we need basic, advanced, and intermediate paramedic? Do we need all four rankings of lieutenant, or would you suggest that to make lieutenant you've got to be, I don't know, at least an intermediate, or
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, I just honestly, when I first built it, I had it as a paramedic lieutenant. Jared on the union side asked, because we're just starting, that there could be a possibility of not excluding some of the firefighter advanced right now that they couldn't promote next year, and
Okay,
asked me to put the scale in, but I originally had it built
gotcha.
where it was just lieutenant paramedic, but he had asked me to put that in there. And then to make it kind of fit into a budget, instead of going from 3% down, it went from 1% within the thing. And that was, again, just to kind of capture some savings on the funds within that lieutenant ranking thing, but I can definitely spread that out.
Do we have any intermediate, or are they all A and T's?
We either
A,
have
E, and
AEMTs or paramedics and basics, or EMTs.
Would it help if we went to just two classes of lieutenants? What if we just had A and P?
I would be okay with
Chief?
that.
So does that preclude a basic EMT from,
Yes.
for promoting? If they want to promote to LT, they gotta at least have their A, right?
Yes.
So it becomes basically the min qual
Exactly.
2T.
But is that gonna take anybody out of the, out of the running for that with our current organization?
Do we have lieutenants right now, Dave?
Yes,
Oh,
one,
One.
needs a basic.
so that was probably the reason that the union rep.
Yeah, so we don't want to we don't want to exclude a qualification that we currently have existing on our roster. I think that's bad business.
Well, then I just suggest lowering the pay for the lieutenant EMT. That'd be my suggestion.
I think you'd have to fix the.
Yeah, they would, that'll.
Disperse it
it'll
throughout.
cover everything, so it all kind of connects, so you'd have to, like you said, you have to then kind of decompress it all, or.
Cause like you said, there's only $900 difference between a lieutenant EMT and lieutenant paramedic. And if you go through if what you're suggesting is like a 15,000 bump. Once you hit that lieutenant, then you have to look at the
You gotta
was
re-rank
it A and lieutenant A and look at that jump, and then but we don't have a firefighter intermediate. To jump to the lieutenant intermediate, or do we? Or maybe they just left the letter out. No, I only see the 3, and then the 4 lieutenants and 3 basic. So,
Well, if there's any way that to take a look at that, I mean, that's all I asked.
Doesn't affect Andy because
Not
Andy,
Andy, but still, I just would like to hear if Andy has an opinion on this with the medical staff. But I'm not a board, I'm sorry, I'm not on this board, so.
What do you
All
think? Andy?
comments are good.
Yeah. spit it
All
out.
opinions, all comments, it all helps build this thing the
More-
right way.
No, I'm putting Andy on the spot. I just would like to hear from the medical officer side, what he thinks of how this is shaking out.
I think an EMT lieutenant can do it, having the right mindset. That you do run into issues and potential issues. I worked for a individual who was EMT at the time, and paramedics were under that EMT. So I'm not saying that it can't be done. It would just depend on the person. You know, like I've heard before, egos, make sure that egos are in check. They're willing to listen on the scene and realize that on that medical scene, the paramedic does trump that lieutenant. You know, unless it's like a safety issue or something like that. I do agree with that. I do have concerns, but you know, as long as it's done correctly, I feel it can be done.
I guess part of my question is, should somebody be promoting if they can't be professional? I used to ride on the ambulance a lot. I'm not a medic, I'm fire staff as assistant chief, but I defer to basics on a, you guys are God when we're here and you tell me what you need, and the only time I'd interfere if it was something obvious safety related. Not saying I'm Mr. the gold standard or something, but the point of these guys is supposed to be professional and be able to deal with that. You're right, attitudes need to stay in check, or they shouldn't be promoting if they can't handle that. So, I mean, I know people are people, but at some point,
If I may,
promoting a professional.
in our current way that we run things, or our chief, our head honcho is actually an EMT basics, so if you're looking for. I mean, we deal with this on a regular basis already, so. Just to make that point.
Good point.
And to what Curtis is saying, if Andy asked me something, I'll give an opinion, but he knows under that certain specific scenario, anything patient care related, it hangs on him, hangs around his neck and it goes like that. Just like
So-
yesterday, decisions that I was making was hanging on me. I'm sorry, Matt, go ahead.
Well, I mean, we're kind of doing a deep dive down into personnel stuff and not back to the pay scale. And I know they kind of crosswalk there a little bit, but we're squarely talking about personnel and management and how people, you know, attitudes and everything else, right? And that's not really the intent. The intent is to set a pay scale up that makes sense logically, has the desirable attributes, folks, you know, obtain higher skill sets, should get paid more, and we got to figure out the right way. So I think what I'm hearing to kind of bring this back around is that it needs to get retooled and re-looked at before the board's ready to go make a vote on the resolution for that.
I agree.
Yep, I think that's accurate, Matt.
Okay.
So
And
let's table
so-
that for next month pending review by staff.
Yeah, that sounds good. The only thing I would add on there, just for context, is this will very likely
Well, we didn't get that, Matt.
He's gonna have to call me on Monday. He's driving.
So this is in alignment with the CBA, and what the adopted in that CBA to get that, because we're gonna make this retroactive back to July 1, and so we're trying to get that in place sooner than later, so that we're not having to retro pay for 4 months or 6 months or 8 months, right? We want to do that for 1 or 2 months if we can. So that's all. That's the last context. I'll be quiet on this issue.
Thanks for adding background, Matt.
Okay.
Okay, so that one is tabled for further review. So we have our next item of business is the intergovernmental agreement with Pendleton Fire and Ambulance for human resource and payroll services. So, this was brought up at the last meeting. And we have a bid for $100,000 annually. And that would cover all payroll services, HR. We even get the Pendleton chief in on the deal for his consultation, we're told. So we get a lot of staff for, access to a lot of staff for $100,000.
So, and Chris, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's $8,300 a month, so. I'm saying this right, Tony, so right in front of Tony, so he's. July's gone by. August is pretty much gonna be gone by, so if this was to start maybe in October. Then that's $8,300 a month that we aren't spending.
Yeah,
So-
it's 9
Exactly.
months instead of 12, right?
Exactly.
So it's prorated. Yeah,
Can I just ask a question, even though I'm not on your board?
sure. We play nice together.
On the human resource side of things, we are still in charge of hiring and firing. Pendleton will just be in charge of the paperwork, the insurance, all of that. That still,
So here's what I have, I've drafted up what could be, what the responsibilities would be in an IGA, and here's what we have, and I ran this through Sherry, the human resources person, also our finance person who's in charge of payroll. And here's what we have, that way you guys will know exactly what we're thinking about, so specifically for the admin human resources, our responsibility would be pay legal organ stuff, insurance, which is property, casualty, liability, health, human resources orientation for existing and new employees, personnel management, for example, but not limited to new employee orientation, benefits, personnel issues, discipline issues, assist with fire chief responsibilities, policies, administer current policies and procedures.
Okay, explain the last two to me.
So it's fire chief responsibilities,
Yes.
they would put it in.
okay, but it's also a medic thing. We've got a medic admin that needs to be included in that, is my opinion.
Okay.
So is the IGA with the fire board? Or is it with both boards? This is where it gets sticky, right? So,
All the employees are through the fire district.
right, so it's with the fire board and that's where that would fall under it. So I would assist with Dave with his responsibilities as your guys' IGA stage would be the employee.
That makes sense.
So assist how?
Whatever Dave would ask, I mean, I'm just available. Yeah. And then the last one, policy, so that kind of goes back to administer current policies and procedures. That really goes back to any personnel or possible discipline issues where you'd reference any policies, but we could help with that, also help streamline policies. So we have a bunch of policies in places, staffing, recall, which will all tie in with the CBA, because you'll want that to have a certain way, because they'll get first right of refusal for all overtime. And then it'll go by rank or cert as well. So if you have a medic opening, you'll have to go to the medics first kind of thing, but we have a tiered system in that, but that would be part of that kind of policy procedure stuff.
Hey, Chris, if I can jump in on this is where this whole thing is really, I believe, brilliant. My experience is on the other side of the union approach and the CBA as a vice president, where I served for 8 years. Tony's experience is on the other side, the benefit side of the CBA and interpretation. So this is where it really is the best of both worlds.
I just feel that Andy, serving our board, and I hear what you're saying, that it is an agreement between the fire district, but we hired him for a reason.
Yep.
And it needs to be included that he's a part of this.
The threesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Is my opinion. He's the one right now. Are you doing the hiring and the firing? I mean, how's that working? Is that between both of you guys when you're hiring somebody?
I think a good question would be like, what is the job description you guys outlined for him? And then where did you put him in the chain of command? So those would be very crucial to kind of differentiate where this all sits. Because just from looking outside, I'll be honest, I kind of see him off, not quite under by the way you guys speak, but through the IGA, I see him under, and it's very confusing. Which can lend to some issues when you're talking about a personnel thing with the system. To have that disparity, because it creates inconsistency, which I can tell you that is not great to have in the fire service. And so we just have to figure out what this job description you gave him, what falls under that, and where you guys see him kind of in the org chart. If you look at the org chart, you know, is the fire chief and he's under the fire chief? Is it the fire chief, he's next to the fire chief? Is he in charge of the employees? Because it sounds like the fire department through your 190 has the employees, so does he even have any employees under him? Is he just look at the budget? Yeah, there's just a bunch of questions that'll come into play when you start looking at the CBA. And it's something we should probably look at and probably figure out as this thing kind of melds together. So you guys get exactly what you want from the system. I mean, that's the whole goal, is that everybody, both boards, Dave, Andy, the employees are getting some kind of consistent system. Sorry. That folks can work off of, that people have expectations. I know my pay's gonna be every month. I know if I do this, this may happen. I know that, you know, you get written, you know what progressive discipline is, but expectations have to be clear. And I can just say outside from looking in, it seems like it's a bit of a hodgepodge thing, which can create inconsistency and questions, which may lend to different personnel problems and stuff. So really, I think you all, I'm not in it yet, take the opportunity to really set up a system that has a very delineated org chart, responsibilities of everybody, you know, especially here at the admin level. So that way those folks can best service the people under them, but just my kind of 2 cents.
I think we need to have definitely some further discussion. I think we were adamant as a medic board in what we needed for a particular person. And it sounds like that it could all possibly shift, and
I think I agree, and we need to maybe put that on our next medic board list. Or do you guys want to go into executive session next month to discuss?
I don't think I don't think there's something that qualifies for executive session.
Yeah, I was gonna chime in with that too. So Tony, I appreciate your opinion. I think you're spot on with your assessment there. How I view, and maybe I'm wrong, but how I view where Andy is in his position is part of, you know, management and leadership of the district right now. And when I see the IGA with Pendleton as payroll, HR, and basically, you know, some assistance with management and leadership of the district, I see him falling right into that. Whether he works for, whether he's the link between the crew and Dave and the daily staff or the shift staff and the fire chief, he's part of that management organization structure, at least in my mind. And maybe that's where Tony's asking for the delineation on the org chart. But having that management and leadership assistance, administration assistance, doesn't just speak to Dave in my mind, it speaks to Andy as well, either through Dave or with Dave in that role. That's how I view it, but I could, you know, that's how it is in my mind. So if the board wants further discussion on that, then we should have further discussion on the issue for sure.
Matt, there's something else. I don't know that all the board members have a copy of the IGA with Pendleton.
Oh, there isn't one.
I haven't. I don't.
Yeah, there's not one yet. So
Okay.
yeah, so this is like to
Numbers
to-
first.
to be the go ahead to start drafting the actual IGA. So
Okay.
there's probably a draft somewhere out there, or maybe something in somebody's, you know, But this would be signaling intent from the board that we want to pursue this officially. We want to go this route. Now we can draft the actual language of the IGA, kind of like we did back, years ago with the other ones.
Well, number 3 says that we want to adopt the IGA agreement with Pendleton.
That's,
Just,
yeah, we want
just
to,
So
put
here-
that through the
so
fire board.
important to
So
the-
am I reading this wrong?
So let me read the resolution.
Okay, I'm gonna have
Okay.
a problem.
The resolution 2026-2 says by this resolution, the East Umatilla Fire and Rescue Board of Directors agrees to enter into the intergovernmental agreement with Pendleton Fire and Ambulance, City of Pendleton, for administrative, human resource, and payroll services for the amount of $100,000 annually, paid in monthly installments of $83.33.33. So I guess my suggestion tonight is that we need to vote on a motion to draft an IGA.
Yes.
And then once we have read and approved the IGA, then we can make a resolution to
Exactly.
adopt it, right?
Correct.
Is that okay, Matt?
yeah, that sounds good.
So I would entertain a motion to draft an IGA agreement with Pendleton for our review, for the above stated administrative, human resource, and payroll services.
I would make that motion.
Okay, moved by Mark
I'll second it.
and second by Matt. Any further discussion on that? Okay, so we'll go for a vote. All in favor of drafting an IGA, say aye.
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 Drafting, aye.
Okay, opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay, next order of business. Umatilla County Fire Authority update, Dave.
There's gonna be a forum in October. And, if the way that I've seen it done before at BMCC, it's gonna be a question and answer after about 15-20 minutes of us blowheads just talking about stuff and where we think this might go and some advantages. There might be some disadvantages. We really don't see too many at this point, but that's what that's gonna be. We're asking with open arms, we're asking for anybody with comments or criticisms or something that we don't see or something that others don't see about this whole idea. And it's almost as if this idea, we're trying to kind of bridle it back because there seems to be a lot of momentum for it. But the initial or right at the start, the effort for the momentum was coming from us, but then for the most part, I think Tony and I are kind of quiet about stuff, and I think Scott has been pretty quiet about things too, and it's just going.
So it'll be at BMCC, you said?
Yes, on the 14th.
And do we know what time? And it's open to public, right, for the forum, I'm
I'm
assuming?
positive, but I don't know for sure, but I think it's October 14th, is that the right date?
Yeah.
You know,
Is this like the summit? Is that,
Kind of a spin-off of the summit?
I'm not sure, just because Sage set up the summit, and I don't think Sage is setting this forum up. I think this is an annual.
yeah, I mean, I
It's
went
for
to one of the,
topic.
yeah, the emergency management meetings we have locally here. And I just had met a lady that works there. I was just telling her about the fire service and the summit, what we've been trying to do. And she, like a month later, called me, hey, well, we have this thing at the college and it'd be a great topic for you guys to bring. Do you want to have a spot? And I said, yes. So it's something they have every year. It doesn't have to do with fire, but they just do kind of what I think public, interest topics. And she heard me when we were just chatting and she thought it would be a good thing and asked me if I wanted to hold a spot for the regional fire chief.
Okay.
okay.
EUFR sign and parking lot light pole installation.
The light pole has a fixed shine down, which I didn't realize that that's what we were getting. I thought we were getting like the Lily Park, the arms coming out the side with the LEDs on the top and the bottom. But that's not the case, so we could probably change to that, but it's gonna cost a couple dollars, of course. But I have not seen this light shine in the dark yet, so it's pretty
Is it
effective.
bright?
It's
And
bright.
maybe
Good.
we don't have to do anything to it at all.
Great.
And the sign, Jerry's been absolutely instrumental in setting the slides up and the whatnot. We're trying to find where the sweet spot is for how many slides that we put on this side at the same time. And then for how long each slide is showing.
Is it on?
Pardon me?
Is it 24/7?
At dusk, it's supposed to stop down to 80% of its brightness just because
Sure,
it's
it's light.
right at wind chill level, so you don't wanna just totally blind somebody. And that tree that's in front, as you come up from below, we're going to replant that at some point,
Okay.
eventually. We know that it's right directly in the line of sight and really is up no good.
Okay.
Date and time for that event, October 14th at 5:30 at the BNCC's library.
We should know about that, Chris.
Yeah, I'll get more information.
Thank you.
Faces.
Yeah.
I don't faces.
Okay, moving on to new business. Do we have issues with our generator?
Back and running. After we figured out that there was a couple of issues with it, I was talking to the Triton folks and went through some troubleshooting on it and have it working. That still brings up the comment about there was no management with it, and we really need to have that because people don't check on it consistently. Frankly, I didn't even know there was a problem with it.
So we need a policy for a monthly check on it.
Well, I want a piece of management equipment in it that will send text messages to the right people so that they know. This time it's bit us up at the ESD a number of times as well as our generator. It wasn't ordered with any management. Yeah, somebody needs to be checking it, but if it gets forgot, okay, may still have an issue with it. So the block heater on it went out. It actually melted the cord that was on it because it had one that was rated for the Arctic, super big. Got that changed out with a lower wattage one from them. That works fine. They had a priming issue, diesel issue with it. They showed me how to deal with that. And then since then, it's been starting running fine. So we're monitoring that and make sure it doesn't stop.
What's our warranty on it?
I'm not sure.
What's the power unit on? Is it Cummins?
It's Perkins. 150 kW. But yeah, I had made comments when we were originally sourcing it and it gotta get management. It just, you have to have that because it's just something that sits out there quiet and people ignore it. And that didn't happen. The one quote for a different brand of management was $2,500. I'm also getting one from them for the same brand as the unit in it. But honestly, it's just something I don't really see as an option, or we can't trust it. Because I mean, even if people are checking it, they check it every other week. Sometimes if something happens, and it does. Generators are supposed to be your most reliable piece of equipment. Like I said, we've been bid a number of times with ours. So I'm still getting a quote on it. I have one, but I need to get another one.
It might not be all that, I'm sorry, Jeremy, it might not be all that cheap, but there's 50,000 in that thing, so. Just like Jeremy said, when we need to run, it's gotta run, so if we get some kind of telemetry or some kind of a message that. The generator needs this, then. I'd rather just pay the money and know that it needs to be fixed or attended to or something. And just go with it.
Little side note, did you put additive in so the fuel can't grow algae?
I think I already had that, but
Okay.
I want to check.
Yeah. Got that. Okay, reports, any questions on the safety, fuels reduction or vehicles reports that were handed around? Okay, how about the chief's report? Any follow-up there?
No.
Okay. I think we're down to good of the order. So let's start with Mark.
Not have anything.
All right, Chris,
I have nothing.
Matt, good of the order?
No, sorry, am not there. Should be there next month.
We'll look forward to seeing you. I have a question. How did the after action review, is that how you say it, go from the Helix Fire? Was that a good learning opportunity? Did it keep good participation? How did it go?
I heard I heard many comments and a couple things to build on. I've been emailing and calling Paul Brocker so that we can get something set up to where when this happens again, hopefully not on a really bad day and the worst location in our entire district. But we have radio frequencies that the farmers use, and we can have their, when we talk about LCES, we can have their liaison, so to speak, at the UC, at the Unified Command Center, and we can have some level of communication with those disc operators, because just like we saw yesterday, you can, if a disc operator is really aggressively digging his disc down there, it makes a lot of dirt, a lot of dust, and you cannot see. You just can't see. And our first responsibility is the safety of our guys, of our people, and that's got to take place. It's not as if we don't care about the disc tractor operator. It's just that they're the 1A, and that's what we got to do. We have to.
I thought it was a great turnout. I mean, there was a lot of people. I didn't know what to expect.
I kind of did.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. And I thought it was going to be very, very heated, and I thought it was tempered
Good.
is my take, because leading up to it, I heard some horror stories that, so I thought everybody was very professional. Some were a little
So-
more passionate.
Yes, sorry. Keep going, Christine.
No, I mean,
So,
Look at
so
this.
there was tension. There was some tension in the room, to be sure. There was folks that, but I think you're 100% right, Christine. They were very tempered with what they were saying. It was not a standard AAR as far as like what we would typically do to run through an after action review. And so, and that's probably, I mean, with that audience, I don't think you're going to have a standardized AAR like we would normalize it within the fire service. So, but I think I take it as a success, because we did foster a conversation. We do have some to-dos to do, and we are making some progress, like Dave said, to make the next time that happens a more positive interaction. So I take that as a win.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for coordinating that, guys. I think that everybody can learn from each other and have a better understanding. And
Matt did a pretty good job. He's been through a lot of AARs. I've been through a bunch of them, and that AAR experience was very unique. But at the same time, Matt did a good job of carefully guiding him without looking like he was guiding it, and it went in a direction. And what he said was poignant, because we have some things to move on from with, and that's what I was hoping for.
great. Well, that's all I had. I guess we've been around. Oh, did you have anything, Matt? Did we ask you?
You did, but I'll just say thanks for stepping in today. Appreciate it.
No, you bet. All right. Well, I think I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion. We adjourn.
Mark moves.
I get to second.
All right, Chris is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
4-0. Have a great evening. See you guys next month.